Welcome back, children. Now our next topic is parts of respiration. Parts of respiration. So as we have already discussed that breathing is one part. So we can also similarly we can say that this respiration process can be divided into or discussed under four subtopics. That is, one is breathing. You have now know very well this is exchange of gases. Then once the gases are taken in, which is oxygen rich air, and or you can say air is taken in and out, it is expelled and CO2 is given out. So then what happens? What happens to these gases? These gases need to be transported. Transported where? From the lungs. Where are the gases reaching? Inside the lungs. Now from the lungs, if we talk about human beings or mammals, from the lungs to they have to be taken to the cells, or let us say, you know, that group of cells is called tissues, to the tissues. So how these gases are transported? These gases will now get they will be now combining with blood. That means particularly hemoglobin. So hemoglobin present in the blood combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. Because hemoglobin has high affinity with oxygen, it combines with oxygen as oxyhemoglobin, and then it is taken to the cells. And similarly, carbon dioxide, which is already formed as a byproduct of respiration, will enter in the blood vessels, blood capillaries, particularly veins. So veins, how do these gases come back to the lungs, to the heart, and then to the lungs? Again, by dissolving in the blood as carb amino hemoglobin. Carb amino hemoglobin. So you should know about this globin. Oxygen combines with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin and is transported. Similarly, carbon dioxide combines with hemoglobin to form carb amino hemoglobin and is transported. And some carbon dioxide is also transported as bicarbonate ions, which is present in the blood plasma. Okay. Then, so we can say that first gaseous exchange, gases go inside the lungs, oxygen will reach the lungs. From here it will be transported to the cells. Before the cells, we should say that it will reach the tissues. And inside the tissues, you know that tissues are made up of cells. So ultimately it will reach the cells through the process of diffusion. So this you can better understand from this diagram. This, they have shown blood capillary. Let us say this is one capillary zoomed in or highly magnified, and this is the surface showing the cell. These are the tissues, and we have magnified some of the cells, 2-3 cells, just to make you understand. You know, blood cells contain RBCs. These are RBCs. These are red platelets, and these shown with yellow color are the white blood cells. All of you know that these 3 types of cells are present in the blood vessels. So these are the cells. So here you can see that carbon dioxide is diffusing out from the cells to the blood capillary, and here they have shown oxygen is diffusing in from the blood capillaries to the tissues or to the cells. So ultimately we can say that gases first will be transported by as oxyhemoglobin and carb amino hemoglobin, and some carbon dioxide as bicarbonates by being dissolving in plasma. Then it will reach the tissues, where tissues oxygen will diffuse into the cells, and inside the cells, then what all changes will take place, we have already discussed. The changes will be a series of complex chemical changes which will ultimately produce energy from the glucose. So we will call this as cellular respiration. Okay. Now let us go through these true and false quickly. Here they have shown strenuous physical exercise may cause fatigue due to accumulation of carbon dioxide in blood. This is false, because you know this is not by carbon dioxide, this is by lactic acid, accumulation of lactic acid. No CO2 is produced in anaerobic respiration. Correct. This is true. Breathing and gaseous transport are one and the same thing. False. Breathing is taking in gases. Gaseous transport is transporting gases from the lungs to the cells or the tissues. Carbon dioxide is transported to the lungs by blood in 2 forms, as bicarbonates and carb hemoglobin. Correct. True. Tissue respiration means chemical changes occur inside the cells. Again false, because chemical changes inside the cell refers to cellular respiration. Now let's have a quick look on the next topic, that is respiratory organs. See children, you already know which are the organs involved in the process of breathing. In breathing, we have nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs. And first is nose. You know that we have pair of nostrils, and the cavity of the nose will be called as nasal chambers. Okay, and the nasal chambers, they perform three functions. One is they warm the air as it passes over from the nasal chambers. They add moisture to it, and they also, the cells of the nasal chambers, they secrete a kind of slimy or sticky fluid. We call it mucus, and that mucus is used to entrap the harmful particles. So that is the reason we say that why you should breathe only through the nose. It is because it will provide warmth to the air, it will add moisture to the air, and also it will help in getting rid of harmful particles if suppose they get inside your nasal passage. The next part is your pharynx. You know that nasal chamber opens at back into a wide cavity that is called the pharynx, and this topic we have already discussed in the digestive system, that pharynx is a common passage, and I told you that pharynx is part of respiratory system as well as a part of digestive system, because here again you can see this diagram. I told you this is the nose, this is your nasal cavity, air is entering, and here immediately at the back you have pharynx, and pharynx divides into two tubes. One forms the food pipe, esophagus, the other forming the windpipe known as trachea, and in between after pharynx we have larynx, which is called your voice box. It is a hollow cartilaginous structure, and it has folds, we call them vocal cords, and when air entering in larynx vibrates, then voice is produced, and when the same voice comes into your oral cavity, and by the action of some cheeks and the teeth and your tongue, all of these, the movement of these structures gives it a particular ways how we speak. That is, the sound becomes your speech. You can say voice becomes yours. Voice is coming from the larynx, and when that same voice is given some more additional features from the teeth and the lips, okay, all those things takes part and it becomes the speech, and the speech is the characteristic feature of human beings. Then let us come on to trachea, which is the windpipe, and from the larynx, it emerges from the larynx and runs downward. So from here also you can see this is the larynx, and then this is the trachea. Trachea is formed of C-shaped ring-like cartilaginous, made up of cartilage. These are the rings made up of cartilage. They try to keep trachea in distended condition, means stretched condition. Okay, and now we will discuss the structure of respiratory system. So just roughly, if I would like to explain, so let's say this is the windpipe or the trachea, and as I told you that it is formed of C-shaped, you can say, the rings of cartilage. We call them cartilaginous rings. The moment it reaches down, it divides into two branches, and these two branches form going into each lung. You know that we have a pair of lung which are slightly conical in shape. So left lung and your right lung. Okay, these lungs, they rest on diaphragm. So this is the diaphragm, let's say. Now here, this is called trachea. That is your windpipe. Trachea, when divides into two parts, each part is called bronchus, and these two will be called as, this one and this one, going to the left lung and the right lung, will be called as bronchi, or singular will be called as bronchus. Now each bronchus immediately divides into branches, and these branches will be called as secondary bronchi. So this is the secondary bronchi. Further, the secondary bronchi will divide into many branches, and we will call it as tertiary bronchi. Okay, then tertiary bronchi will further still divide into still finer branches, and we will call them bronchioles. I hope you are understanding what I mean to say. Means this is, suppose your bronchus, singular is bronchus, then it will divide. Now the divisions, what we are going to call to these divisions as, what are these? Secondary bronchi. Okay, now the secondary bronchi further dividing into branches. So further branches will form what? Tertiary bronchi. Now these are the tertiary bronchi. Tertiary bronchi will still finally divide into many thin branches. We call them bronchioles. Bronchioles. So here you need to remember like this. So this is the trachea, this is the bronchi. Then what will be these? Secondary bronchi, then these tertiary bronchi, and these very thin bronchioles. And the ending of each bronchiole has a swelling, has a raised swollen structure. We call it air sac. Air sac, or it is also known as alveolus. Alveolus is the singular name, and plural will be alveoli. Okay, so you need to practice this diagram. This one, this can come to draw, or this can also come for labeling. Fine. And one more thing which you need to remember is that your lungs, both the lungs, they are covered with, you can say they have two membranes, outer and inner membrane, and between the membrane there is a cavity. So we are going to call it by a name which is called pleura. Pleura. So this is the outer membrane, this is the inner membrane. Outer membrane will be called parietal pleura, and inner membrane will be called visceral pleura. Visceral pleura, and in between there is a fluid, we will say pleural fluid is present, and this fluid provides them, it acts as a shock absorbent. Fine. So let's see again to this diagram. So bronchi. So close to the lungs, trachea divides into two tubes, and I said it is called bronchi, and singular will be bronchus. So this is one bronchus, this one, sorry, and this is the other bronchus. So they have shown LS of longitudinal section of one lung. Each bronchus will divide. So as soon as the bronchus will divide, this branch, this will be called secondary bronchi. And then further it has divided. So what are these? Tertiary bronchi. And again fine branches. Ultimately we are getting bronchioles. All of these are made up of cartilaginous rings, and they help in keeping them distended. Okay. And then bronchioles, ultimately these bronchioles are 1 millimeter in diameter, and the bronchioles ultimately end in a cluster of tiny air chambers. What do we call these air chambers as? Air sacs or alveoli. So you can see here so many small alveoli, and if we zoom into, we enlarge or magnify, then we will see this is one alveolus, and each of these alveoli is surrounded by a network of blood capillaries. This is the capillary from the, let's say, artery, and this is from the vein. Okay. So now throughout the passage, throughout the trachea, bronchus, and then tertiary, secondary, and bronchioles, all this passage, they are made up of ciliated cells. So these are the cells, and their endings have thin hair-like structures. We call them cilia. These cilia, they help in removing the dust particles, trapping the dust particles. So two functions are there. One is they try to remove the dust particles by beating movement of cilia, and secondly, in between these cells there are some modified cells. These are the cells, we call them goblet cells. These goblet cells, they produce mucus, sticky material, so that any germs, if entering, they can be entrapped by them. Okay. Now they have shown this diagram also. Let me just explain you. This is one alveolus enlarged, one alveolus. So enlarged to a lot of extent. And as I told you, each alveolus is surrounded by a network of capillaries. Fine. So let us say this is the blood vessel surrounding it. Blood vessel. This is the alveolus. So as you know, carbon dioxide from the blood will enter the lungs, alveolus. From here to the tertiary branches, to the secondary, to the bronchi, to the trachea, to the pharynx, and out. So CO2 will be out. And similarly, oxygen will enter alveoli. From here, blood will take oxygen. From here, oxygen rich blood is, you know, that taken by pulmonary veins. Okay. And arteries bring deoxygenated blood. So this is not a complicated diagram, just it seems such. This is one alveolus they have drawn to a very large extent. These are small alveoli, and just 1000 times they have enlarged it and shown you that what actually happens in the alveolus, and this is the surrounding blood vessel. So I hope you have understood this. Just you go through these, and you also need to study the names: inner membrane of lungs, visceral pleura, outer membrane, parietal pleura, and as I told you, it is filled with the fluid. We call it pleural fluid. Okay, so study till here. In the next session we will discuss about the next topic. Thank you.